The largest wildfire in the United States in 2026 is burning across the Oklahoma Panhandle and southern Kansas right now. 283,000 acres, twice the size of Chicago, 65 miles in a single direction. At peak spread on Tuesday afternoon, it consumed 3 to 4 football fields every second. Winds gusting above 65 miles per hour grounded every firefighting aircraft in the region. Flames overran a volunteer fire truck in Beaver County and threw 3 firefighters from the vehicle. One was airlifted with a brain bleed. Governor Kevin Stitt declared a state of emergency for 3 counties. FEMA approved 3 fire management assistance grants. More than 11,000 people have been evacuated from towns that most Americans cannot find on a map. In Woodward, Oklahoma, a city of 12,000, 1/3 of the population was told to leave, in a state that prohibits mandatory evacuations. But here's the detail that tells the real story. In a field on the outskirts of Woodward sits one of 120 Oklahoma Mesonet weather stations. Steel frame, instrument cluster, sensors measuring temperature, humidity, wind speed, soil moisture. Every 5 minutes, the station transmits data to the Oklahoma Climatological Survey. That data feeds the fire danger models for every county in the state. On February 17, 2026, at approximately the same hour the 43 road fire ignited a mile and a half west of town, the Woodward station was recording its own death. Relative humidity in single digits, fuel moisture at 3%, wind gusts above 60 miles per hour. The fire reached the station before the Woodward Fire Department reached the flames. Matt Lehenbauer, the city's emergency management director, confirmed the fire was inside town before all firefighters arrived. The instruments melted. The machine built to warn Oklahoma about wildfire was destroyed by the fire it was measuring. The data stopped. The conditions it recorded did not. To understand how the Southern Plains arrived here, watch the timeline accelerate. Sunday, February 16th. Oklahoma activates the State Emergency Operations Center. Red flag warnings blanket the western half of the state. Fire suppression teams pre-position across 3 counties. No fires yet, just the math. Humidity dropping, wind climbing. Tuesday, February 17th, 11:40 in the morning. The Ranger Road fire ignites southeast of Beaver, Oklahoma. By early afternoon, it has burned 15,000 acres. Same day. The Stephenson fire erupts in Texas County. The side road fire starts nearby when a 7-vehicle pileup on US 54 sparks in the smoke. The 43 road fire breaks out a mile and a half west of Woodward and charges toward the city through stands of red cedar. 5 structures destroyed in Texas County. 3 in Woodward, including 2 USDA buildings. The Mesonet station melts, 4:20 p.m. Central Time. 65 miles northeast, a shelter opens in a high school gym in Coldwater, Kansas. 5:33 p.m. Comanche County 911 issues a full evacuation order. Everyone south of Highway 160 and west of Road 5. Go now. Ashland empties. Englewood empties. By evening, the Ranger Road fire has exploded to 145,000 acres. In Woodward, 4,000 residents are told to leave. A Rosston volunteer fire truck overturns. 3 firefighters pulled from the wreckage. Wednesday, February 18th, the fire doubles. 283,283 acres, 15% contained. 33 separate fires and hot spots reported across 23 Oklahoma counties in a single day. And then it got worse. Picture the Oklahoma Panhandle from above. A strip of high plains 166 miles long and 34 miles wide. Flat, treeless, grassland running to the horizon in every direction with no natural fire break to slow anything moving across it. This is the same geography that produced the Dust Bowl. Same soil, same wind, different disaster. Now fill that landscape with dormant winter grass. Fuel moisture at 3 to 4%. For comparison, kiln-dried lumber used in construction sits at 6 to 8%. This grass is drier than the wood holding up your house, Layer and relative humidity as low as 9% across the Panhandle. Wind gusting past 65 miles per hour. Temperatures running 15 degrees Fahrenheit above average for February. Then add eastern red cedar. Red cedar is the accelerant no one is talking about. An invasive species that has been colonizing Oklahoma grassland for decades. It burns higher and hotter than grass. It turns a fast-moving ground fire into a fire that climbs, crowns, and throws embers hundreds of yards ahead of the flame front. Marcus Stephenson, fire marshal for the Woodward Fire Department, identified cedar as the primary reason the 43 road fire reached the city so fast. It broke out in a wooded area full of them, he said. It spread rapidly. It was in town before all the Woodward firefighters could respond. And Woodward has a full-time fire department. Most communities in the Panhandle do not. Here is the problem that is not making headlines. Oh, this is the third catastrophic grass fire to strike the same corridor of the southern plains in under a decade. March 2017. The Starbuck Fire. 660,000 acres across Clark, Comanche, and Meade counties in Kansas. 75% of Clark County burned. 1 dead. Thousands of cattle killed, $44 million in property damage. February 2024, the Smokehouse Creek Fire, 1.07 million acres across the Texas Panhandle and into Oklahoma, largest wildfire in Texas history, second largest in American history, 2 dead, thousands more cattle, hundreds of structures gone. February 2026, the Ranger Road Fire, same belt, same fuel, same wind, same communities. The recovery cycle is now shorter than the fire cycle. Gary McManus, the Oklahoma state climatologist, surveyed the destruction from the February 17th outbreak and issued a warning that should have led every newscast in the country. We get to do the same thing today, he said, and again tomorrow. The southern plains are not experiencing a wildfire event. They are locked inside a wildfire pattern. And the pattern is accelerating, and this is where it gets worse. Greg Gardiner runs thousands of cattle on rangeland between Ashland and Englewood, Kansas. In March 2017, the Starbuck Fire destroyed his home. 42,000 acres of pasture, 270 miles of fence, 1,400 head of cattle. Gone. It took 8 years to rebuild. 3 years to produce a single animal for market means one fire can erase a decade of genetic work. Gardiner told reporters he was finally made whole from the 2017 loss just last week. The Starbuck Fire of March 6, 2017, he said, is embedded in their history and memory. Then the Ranger Road Fire crossed into Clark County. So far, Gardiner has lost around 300 head. He mobilized faster this time. Lessons learned. But 300 cattle are still dead. And it is calving season. Across the region, orphaned calves now need specialized care that most producers cannot provide. The Oklahoma Cattlemen's Foundation opened a fire relief fund within 24 hours. Brad Robertson, another Ashland-area rancher, lost his home and all of his buildings in a wildfire in 2014. He evacuated again this week, drove to the shelter at South Central High School in Coldwater. He told a reporter he has been through this mess before. It is bad. It is terrible. In Beaver County, 3 volunteer firefighters from the Rosston Fire Department were thrown from their tanker truck when it overturned during the Ranger Road response. Chris Campbell, burns to both arms and his left hand, facing surgery. Randy Masters, plate and screws in his foot, cannot bear weight for 3 months. Jake Edwards, brain bleed, transported to OU Medical Center. A Follett volunteer firefighter suffered 17 cracked ribs. 2 Ashland-area firefighters overcome by fire and smoke were airlifted to St. Francis Hospital in Wichita. The Firefighters Union sent members to sit with the families. Every one of these people is a volunteer. As of February 19th, the Ranger Road Fire stands at 283,283 acres and 15% contained. Red flag warnings remain in effect across nearly the entire state of Oklahoma. Our wind direction is shifting northwest ahead of a cold front, threatening new flare-ups on containment lines that firefighters have held for 2 days. Harper County has been added to the governor's emergency declaration. The Oklahoma Department of Agriculture warns that established wildfires today will exhibit very rapid rates of spread and problematic fire behavior. The Kansas Division of Emergency Management posted a single sentence that every official in the region should read. The slightest ember, they wrote, could become tomorrow's inferno. A rancher in Kansas, identified only as Lee, told a reporter something that national networks will not repeat. "This is the kind of stuff that is not going to make CNN," he said. "They will talk about fires in Hawaii and the fires affecting smoke quality in Chicago. But for us, it is real. It is every day." He is correct, and the math confirms it. How do you rebuild a herd when the recovery cycle is now shorter than the fire cycle? How do you tell a rancher who spent 8 years replacing 1,400 head of cattle that the same ground is burning again, that the grass his surviving animals depend on will not return until spring, that the fencing and feed and genetics he rebuilt over the past decade have to be rebuilt again, starting now during calving season with orphaned calves and no pasture? If the same corridor of the southern plains burns catastrophically in 2017, in 2024, and again in 2026, and the conditions that produced all three fires are identical: dormant grass, single-digit humidity, 65-mile-per-hour wind, invasive cedar that no one has removed, how many more cycles does this pattern repeat before something structurally changes? On February 17, 2026, the Oklahoma Mesonet station in Woodward recorded relative humidity falling into single digits. It recorded wind gusts climbing past 60 miles per hour. It recorded fuel moisture dropping to 3%. It measured every condition that predicted the fire that was coming. Then the fire arrived. The instruments melted. The station went dark. The conditions it recorded have not changed.